Hi everyone, I'm Arya from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make a colorful grid set gloves. It consists of 3 parts, the palm, the wrist, and the tassels. First, we'll crochet the palm. Once that's done, we'll crochet the wrist along the edge of the palm. Finally, we'll sew the tassels onto the wrist at the right position for decoration. This product is made using variegated yarn. The actual variegated yarn has multiple color segments. Starting the crochet at different color points will result in different finished effects. You can refer to the finished product or choose according to your preference. To start crocheting at the corresponding color segment of the variegated yarn, let's start by learning the crochet for the mittens. It is divided into motif 1 and motif 2. We will use the magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The stitch techniques used include chain stitches, double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. Now, please watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. First, we'll start with the magic ring. Take out the corresponding yarn. For better visibility, the colors are random. For specific yarn, the color scheme and hook size will be provided. Refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Wrap it twice around your left index finger. Now there are 3 strands of yarn on your left index finger. Use your right thumb and index finger to pinch where the loops overlap. Take it out. Then wrap the yarn tail once around your left little finger. Pass it through between your middle finger and index finger. Transfer the loop to between your left middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Insert it into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. Now there is 1 loop on the hook. Crochet a chain stitch to secure. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. 1 chain stitch is completed. Slightly tighten. Don't pull the loop on the hook too tight. At this point, the magic ring is completed. Next, crochet the first round. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. 1, 2, 3. This turning chain counts as 1 double crochet. On the 3rd chain stitch, pick up 2 loops and place a stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a safety pin or paperclip from home. Then crochet 1 double crochet, yarn over. Insert the hook into the magic ring. Draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops left. Yarn over and draw through the remaining 2 loops in once. The double crochet is completed. This V-shaped loop is the stitch. Continue with another double crochet. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the magic ring. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops left. Yarn over and draw through the remaining 2 loops in once. Another double crochet is completed. Here, consider the completed stitches as 1 leaf. Next, chain 2. One leaf. Follow this method. Refer to the pattern and crochet 2 more leaves. Use 2 chain stitches as a transition between the leaves. After completing the last leaf, crochet 1 chain stitch. Then close the ring. Here, there are 2 loops. First, gently pull the starting tail. You can see that 1 loop is moving. Then, from the side of the yarn tail, pull the moving loop tight. One loop remains. Directly pull the starting tail tight. This way, the ring is closed. Then, at the stitch marker position, crochet 1 single crochet. Pick up the 2 strands on the side of the chain. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through the 2 loops on the hook. 1 single crochet is completed. At the same time, the first round is also completed. We will use the side with the clearer texture as the right side. The side with the blurry texture will be the wrong side. That is, the side with the starting chain yarn tail. When crocheting, the right side should always face you. Now, let's crochet the second round. First, make 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Place a stitch marker on the last chain stitch. Then, in the chain space below, crochet 2 double crochets. In the next chain space, crochet 1 leaf. Consider these 2 leaves as one side of the motif. Then, crochet 2 chain stitches. Consider these 2 chain stitches as one corner. Continue to crochet another side. Then, crochet another corner. Repeat the pattern of sides and corners. Complete this round. After completing the round, join with a slip stitch at the marked stitch. Pull tight. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. Weave the starting tail a few more times. Once it's securely woven, trim any excess yarn tails. The second round is completed. Next, we will crochet the third round. Take the corresponding yarn. Since this yarn has longer fibers, the stitches may not be easy to see. Pay attention to the markers while crocheting. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Join the yarn in the chain space at any corner. In this swatch, join the yarn in the chain space to the right of the beginning chain. Draw the yarn through. The yarn is joined. Crochet 1 chain stitch to start. The beginning chain does not count as a stitch. Then place the stitch marker on the entire loop on the hook. Pay attention to the yarn you are crocheting. Do not catch the stitch marker. Crochet 1 single crochet in the same position. Insert the hook into this chain space. Place the yarn tail above the hook. Wrap it in as you crochet. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Yarn over again, and draw through all the loops on the hook. The single crochet is completed. The stitch marker marks the single crochet stitch. You can feel the stitch with your hands, where the two strands of yarn meet. It's a small dent or hole. Or you can separate the fuzz. And you will see these two strands of yarn. Next, at the beginning chain position, crochet 1 single crochet. If you can't see the adjacent stitch clearly, you can separate the fuzz and then crochet. Crochet 1 single crochet into the adjacent double crochet stitch. Pay attention, this stitch might be a bit puckered. Pick up these two strands and crochet. Crochet 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Place the stitch marker on the entire loop on the hook. This marks the position for the later join. Crochet single crochets into the corresponding stitches of the adjacent leaf. The stitch marker marks the first single crochet stitch of this leaf. Then crochet 2 more single crochets. After completing, crochet 1 single crochet into the chain space. Treat the completed stitches as one side. Continue by crocheting 1 chain stitch. Consider this chain stitch as one corner. Repeat the pattern of sides and corners. Complete this round of crocheting. When crocheting, pay attention on each side. Crochet into the first single crochet of the second leaf. Place a marker to mark. Finally, crochet 1 single crochet into the chain space at the corner. Crochet 1 single crochet into the first single crochet. The third round is completed. Next, crochet the fourth round. Start with 1 chain stitch to begin. In the corner hole, crochet 1 single crochet. Place a marker to mark. Then, continue along this side. Work single crochets evenly into each stitch. If you can't find the stitch, you can feel it with your hand, or roughly match the number of stitches above the leaf. Correspondingly make the stitches evenly. Crochet one single crochet into the marked stitch. Make a mark. Finally, crochet one single crochet into the chain space at the corner. Treat the crocheted stitches as one side of the motif. Then, crochet one chain stitch. Treat this chain stitch as one corner of the motif. Make a mark at this corner. Repeat the crochet for the sides and corners. When crocheting, pay attention to completing the marked stitch from the previous round. Make a mark on the stitch above the marker. Refer to the chart to complete this round. Finally, crochet one chain stitch. Make a mark. Slip stitch into the first single crochet. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Remove the stitch marker from the starting point. Weave in the yarn tail along the fuzzy edge of this round. There are no specific requirements for where to hide the yarn tail. Just make sure it's secure. Finally, trim any excess yarn tail. The fourth round is completed. Motif 1 is also completed. Next, we will crochet motif 2. Use the magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The first 3 rounds are crocheted using the same method as the first 3 rounds of motif 1. Follow the method I demonstrated earlier. Complete the first 3 rounds of motif 2. I have already completed the small sample here. When crocheting the 4th round, you need to join up with motif 1. Now, I will demonstrate how to crochet the 4th round. Please watch the demonstration. Start with one chain stitch to begin. In the corner space, crochet one single crochet and place a stitch marker to mark it. Then, work 4 single crochets into each corresponding stitch. After completing this, take out motif 1 and place it with the wrong sides, facing each other against motif 2, on any one side of motif 1. Crochet 1 double crochet into the marked position. This completes the joining for one side. Continue working 4 single crochets into each corresponding stitch. After completing this, crochet 1 single crochet into the chain space. Mark the position on the corresponding corner of motif 1, and crochet 1 double crochet. This completes the joining for one corner. I'll demonstrate this again. The hole at the corner. Crochet 1 single crochet. Then, work 4 single crochets into each corresponding stitch. After completing this, on the corresponding side of motif 1, crochet 1 double crochet into the marked position. This completes the joining for another side. Continue to work 4 single crochets into each corresponding stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet into the chain space. Mark the position on the corresponding corner of motif 1, and crochet 1 double crochet. This completes the joining for one corner. Everyone follow the method demonstrated just now, and refer to the chart to complete the remaining part. This side does not need to be joined. Just crochet normally. Finally, mark the position on the corresponding corner of motif 1, and crochet 1 double crochet. After completing this, join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail, and break the yarn. Tuck the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. This completes motif 2. The palm section is also completed. Next, crochet the wrist. It consists of 6 rounds. Along the opening of the palm, crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Please watch the demonstration. First, we'll crochet the first round. Take the corresponding yarn. On the side of the opening, at the top right corner of any motif, join the yarn. Crochet 3 chain stitches to start. Place a marker. Then, work double crochets into each stitch. Continue until you reach the stitch just before the corner double crochet connection. Pay attention to checking the number of stitches as you crochet. When you reach the corresponding position, pick up the side of the connected double crochet. Work 2 double crochets into this position. Following the chart, complete the remaining part. Finally, join with a slip stitch at the marker position. The first round is completed. Next, crochet the second round. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Place a stitch marker on the turning chain to mark it. Then, work double crochets into each stitch. Continue all the way around until you finish this round. When done, join with a slip stitch at the marker position. The second round is completed. The third round is worked in the same way as the second round. After completing the crochet, join with a slip stitch at the turning chain. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. This way, the third round is completed. Next, crochet the fourth round. Take the corresponding yarn. Join the yarn at the slip stitch position from the previous round. Crochet 1 chain stitch as the turning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Place a stitch marker to mark the position. Then work single crochets into each stitch in sequence. As you crochet, place a stitch marker every 4 stitches. Continue to complete this round. Finally, join with a slip stitch at the marked stitch. The fourth round is completed. The fifth and sixth rounds are worked in the same way as the fourth round. Work single crochets into each stitch from the previous round. Work single crochets into each stitch in sequence. Pay attention to placing stitch markers as you crochet. Check the stitch count as you crochet. This prevents adding or missing stitches. If you can't find the exact position, you can roughly distribute the corresponding number of stitches between 2 stitch markers. Complete the section on your own. After completing the crochet, join with a slip stitch, break the yarn, and weave in the ends. That completes the explanation for the wrist section. Finally, sew on the decoration. The decoration is this tassel lace. You can choose whether to sew it on based on personal preference. On any side of the wrist area of the glove, between 2 rows of double crochets, sew the tassel with the side facing the palm. Please watch the demonstration. Cut a piece of sewing thread. Thread it through the needle. Tie a knot at the end of the thread. Set it aside for later use. Take out the tassel lace. Take one end of the tassel lace and lightly burn it with the outer flame of a lighter. This will prevent the lace from fraying. Do this quickly a few times to avoid burning it. Pick up the sewing needle. Sew along the top and bottom edges. There are no specific requirements for the sewing method, just make sure it looks neat and tidy. Start by sewing the bottom part here. Fold the beginning part slightly inward. When sewing, try to keep the stitches as even as possible. Don't make the tassels too tight, but also not too loose. Make sure they stick closely to the fabric piece. Pay attention and try it on as you sew. Sew until you reach near the end. Leave a little and cut it off. Burn the reserved part with a lighter as well. Fold it to the wrong side and sew it in. This way, the bottom part is sewn together. Everyone can follow the same method to sew the top part as well. Up to this point, the decoration has been explained. At the same time, the entire glove has been explained. If you encounter any issues while crocheting, if there are any unclear points, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family. Support your handwork experience. Enjoy the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.